Here we go. And hey, what's everybody? What's up, everybody? This is Movie Crap Live. Can I hear me? Can I hear me? Oh, there we are. Okay, how is it going, everybody? Welcome back again after 1 week, the shortest in a long time. How is it? Oh, thank you, Cornbread. Very quick on that. All right. Well, first off, hey, Cornbread. And hello, Austin, and hello, Sinram Zodberg. Oh, it was cat food. I'm sorry, you got a cat food. Nathaniel Foga, Purple Goop I saw was here. Zodberg. Was Zodberg the one? No. Who's racing to get home in time? Ramsey the artist. Sorry if they're getting ads and stuff. That's YouTube's deal, I guess. Nattenbach64, if Ryan's still here. Hello, Ryan. And Super Adaski. Did I see Sinram in here? There's Sinram. Hello. Hello, everyone. Oh, okay. And yes, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Movie Crap Live. And let's okay, let's just switch over real quick. Hello, how's it going, everybody? Switch it to the main image here. Yeah, we're back a week later for once. So I thought I'd make kind of the announcement that this will be a little more frequent, but we'll get into that very shortly. I will also, hello Dax, how's it going? Congratulations, Zodberg. I saw you were on a Ben 10 race against time, and hello, Evil Ghost Ninja. Yeah, things have been all right, I guess. Things have been good. Watched Wizard of Oz tonight. That was cool. Hello, Major Mekazawa. I don't know why I'm talking so quiet. I need to bring up the energy. But yeah, we watched Wizard of Oz. That was great. I think it's Oscar's first time really seeing it because he was a baby last time we watched it, so that was pretty cool. I can't think of anything else. Oh, I saw Pet Sematary. That was neat. Oh yeah, Newsies. That didn't really work out because I think we thought it was more about the making of newspapers, which was what Sophie was interested in, and it wasn't, and it sort of like didn't. I think we'll come back to that one. That didn't. Everyone kind of rejected it a little. I'd never seen it. I was excited, but no. But I did watch Pet Sematary that night, and that movie is very camp. Very camp. I have to say that there's like parts where they're like, oh, well, if you take someone to the Indian burial ground after they're dead, they don't necessarily come back. Something else comes back, and then the guy's like, just keeps bringing stuff up there, and I'm like, dude, like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, that's hello, Catbox 158. It was very camp and starred the lady who was on Star Trek Next Gen season 1, and she was the mom in it. She was only in the season 1 of Star Trek Next Generation. But yeah, very campy. Although having the kids be the same age as my kids was like, that part was not fun. Watching a kid my son's age get like run over by a major truck. I'm trying to just chill out, watch a horror movie. It was not like my not the vibe I was going for. I was like, I think I yelled like, I don't want to fucking watch this. Fuck this. While I still watched it and I didn't cover my eyes, but I did yell at the screen by myself that this was bullshit. So hello, Anthony, and thank you. Happy Halloween to you too. So that was intense. I was like, this. While playing the Ramones, though, I got to give Stephen King some credit for getting the Ramones, getting the Ramones on a big movie in the 80s. Kudos to him. The Pet Sematary song's cool, but then before the guy runs over the kid, he's listening to Sheena was a punk rocker, I believe. But yeah, it is very campy. The original, just completely ridiculous. Like, I feel like if you made it now, someone would have to make a joke. We're like, but if you take them up there, like, we already know. And he's like, but what if this time they just died? So like, maybe they'll come back this time. And I was like, I mean, like, hello, Quicksilver, what's up? They'd be like, I don't know. It's just really funny that he keeps going like, but hear me out. What if we did it again? What if we just went and like brought the dead body? It'll work out better. It's just very ridiculous. But I had fun. A friend was like, "You've never seen Pet Sematary?" And that was kind of the two scary movies I'm not reviewing. I try to watch. I like doing reviews and stuff. I know there's a remake. I've not seen the remake. I can't imagine if the remake's serious. I would hate that. Like, you have to be campy because it's like the dumbest premise. It's like these people live next to this house, like with their family. That's a very busy highway with trucks, basically, right in their front yard. They don't have a fence. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, you really think about it. Like, I would immediately go, okay, well, I guess this is a good deal, but we're building a fence because they have like a 2-year-old. That's like that's what I don't know. It's like pretty clear somebody's gonna, like, right when they introduce this house that's by these like massive. Sorry, it's just like really. I was like, is this it was like a dream. It was. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe his book is like different, but I just love the I did like its campy value. It's just like the part with the kid. I was like, I am not here for this. I kept watching it though. I think that both helps me because I don't have as much fear sometimes, but at the same time I get super paranoid about stuff after a horror movie. So I think it like helps and doesn't help. But anyway, I think, and I'm watching Scanvengers Reign, which we'll talk about. That's going to be a quick thing because I keep forgetting to do like a short of that. And I thought, well, I'm doing the stream, might as well like actually do it. So that'll be cool. Oh, okay. So first off, before I reveal the energy drink, no, I actually thought someone would get it because this is one that you can get at most stores, I think. But the suggestions were actually really good. The cornbread tweet, who he did not say anything. Unless I'm wrong about that. Let me check the notifications on that one. Check the receipts. Yeah, it was cornbread. I'm fucking sorry, cornbread. You deserve better than that. Said G Fuel, and Austin said Halloween 2 Slay all day. That sound actually, those sound really cool. But Black City Axe and Winkle, I did say in it was a holiday coming up, and it's actually I want to actually see if like you can see this. The Monster Juice. I hope this is actually an energy drink. It says energy plus juice, so I don't know. For the Day of the Dead. Dia de los Muertos, I think. Anyway, we need to watch Book of Life in this house soon because it's a favorite, and Coco. Both good. But anyway, Black Saxowinkle gave the first super chat. I'm going to open this up. We'll see what it is. It said, hey, just watch Curse of Chucky, no Kevin James. Is Kevin... Wait, I know Black Saxowinkle was very pro Kevin James, but now, because I'm not as familiar with the Child's Play stuff as like Izzy is, I'm now thinking Kevin James is in the Child's Play movies. Like, and I don't... Now I'm not sure. Anyway, I will try this. Let's try this. It says Mango Loco. Okay. I don't know if I taste the Loco, but I do taste the mango. Anyway, so I thought people would figure out I was talking about another holiday. Hello, Nerdification, but whatever. We'll see. I had to kind of... Anyway. So, first off, before we get into that, and I will talk about Matthew Perry, that'll be the first story, if anyone's wondering, is what's going on with Movie Crap. I do kind of want to do this more frequently. I did... The show last week kind of inspired me a lot. And, hold on, I will get to Austin's after. I want to get through this. Sorry, Austin. That's very generous of you also. But I want to do this more often. And so I think I need to reformat it for my family and my life and so forth. So next Saturday, there will be a show. God will. I mean, I'm really hoping there'll be a show. My life is, you never know. But the plan is to have a show next Saturday. And that will be the final Movie Crap Live on a Saturday, as the show will now move to... the plan is Wednesday. And I think the first, it'll it will not be every Wednesday because I have people visiting and family stuff, and it just won't work every week. But there'll be more shows than once a month going forward is the plan. So if you ever wanted to be here for the Saturday movie crap, I do have the heart symbol. It's weird. It always throws me off. There'll be more movie craps more frequently. The plan right now, and I want to get a calendar to sort of say the plan, but is to have it next week on November 4th, and then the next one would be Wednesday the 15th. I'm not sure when the one will be after that. That one might be on a different day, like a Monday or something after that, but I think I'm going to do the rest on Wednesdays. So for now on, they'll be on Wednesdays, but if you want to say goodbye to the Saturday era or whatever you want to call it, but they'll be more frequent. I hope to do at least November to December, at least 3 a month. November seems a little iffy. It might be 2, but I believe, and a guy named Chris, you have a good point. He says, I will commit to 2. I'm not sure, but I think in December we can do 3. So just to clear that up. So if it never worked for you, this will work. I don't know if it'll be shorter. I'm going to test the waters. I might not do as many segments. That might be harder, but we'll see about that. So it's sort of like a thing I'm figuring out. But it'll, like, I think one of the problems with doing them once a month is that, like, it became this thing of, like, I would just do the week because it's sort of hard to reaction news that old. And this way of, like, I miss a week, it will sort of work a little better also, which I think will be cool. Guy named Crystal asks, will they still be around 10:30? Yes. And the reason that always is because kids go to bed and I have to prepare and I try to clean up, and there's like, it's not just because I'm like super cool and chill or something. It's more because I usually like just about get everything done in time to do it at 10:30. So it's less of a I'm a cool night owl and more of a this is the only time it can happen. So, I think some people Wednesdays will be a little better. And I actually did a little looking into doing the podcast thing. I think that might cost some money. I haven't done a lot of research in it, but I am looking into that. So you could listen to this later, but I just want to put that out there. I really do want to do that at some point too. But as for right now, if you want to be here for the last Saturday one, it is next Saturday. There'll be the last Saturday. You can, if you ever want to do it on a Saturday, but the next one will be 11 days later. And then, they'll be more frequent because I was like, you know what? The Tommy Tooby episode was like really good. Life is stressful enough. And this is like a good outlet for me. I really like talking to you guys. I like improvising. I like talking about a lot of these stories. Like nobody wants to hear me talk about at length. So it's like kind of helps me get all this info. My brain just sponges up and get it like, bleh. But anyway, we'll see how it goes, and I'm sure there'll be changes and stuff like that, but that is the plan as of right now. But it'll pretty much be moving to Wednesdays with some exception, but that is a good reason to follow me on Twitter and subscribe, because you will get updates or a Patreon or whatever. I'll say that during that part. On the 15th will be the first Wednesday show of November. So it'll be the 4th will be the last Saturday show. I think that makes sense. I hope so. But let's get to the super chats. And thank you again, named Crystal, for saying that, because I would have forgotten that. So thank you. Austin says, cough cough, still got my watch. Sorry, cough cough, still got my watch my show. I sent you a link. It's on Peacock Junior YouTube channel. I can't watch. Okay, maybe we should just do Austin's show. Maybe that should be, you know what? Maybe I will review Austin's show on the next one. Maybe that's a good segment. Now I hope I like it. How about I'll watch the first 2 episodes next week? I think that'd be a cool idea. Maybe we'll do that. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Thank you very much. Very generous of you. And another one from Black Sox Winkle said, if you can, you should read Pet Sematary. Good book. Okay, I'm assuming it's less campy. Maybe it's more campy. Maybe all the trucks have laser guns on them and razor wire. That just seems stupid, but maybe, I don't know. Anyway, you know what's funny about it being called Pet Cemetery? They just walk through a pet cemetery. It's like not really about a pet cemetery. It's about like a weird Indian burial ground. How many Stephen King books are about weird Indian burial grounds? Like The Shining, Pet Cemetery, Christine, maybe? I don't, okay, maybe just 2, but like it's not a, or like the Doofenshmirtz thing is like if I had, you know, which isn't a lot, but it is kind of weird. Anyway, sorry. Cheers to you. It is weird. Yeah, Monster. I don't know Monster. Well, anyway, I wanted to get something different. Okay, wait. Did I leave anybody out? Okay. It's weird that it happened twice, I guess to say. I guess the real, you know what? The real Pet Cemetery is the friends we made along the way. Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the other one I want to watch, Halloween, is Herzog's Nosferatu. I would like to do that. I might do that Halloween night. That would be, you know, I don't think I'm going to review it. And video stuff coming up. I do have the next, was almost in, or almost directed. I'm going to have a bunch on Scorsese. I have I think a lot of minutes of Scorsese, and I have the first one. I need to finish it. Part 1, I think, will be out tomorrow. And there's going to be a lot of them. And I also learned it's Scorsese. It's not Scorsese. It's Scorsese. Apparently, it's apparently not even Thelma Schumacher. It's Thelma Schoonmaker. Hello, MBLT. But yeah, it's Martin Scorsese, because she corrected Mark Kermode. And Mark Kermode's review was interesting, because he just started talking about how, is streaming length, is that the appropriate length, or is theater length the more appropriate? And it was getting into as this evolves, does it make more sense? Anyway, it was good. You should watch Mark Kermode in general, but his Killers of the Flower Moon is good. I will have one of those out eventually, but my plan right now, is Scorsese, and then No One Will Save You. I want to try to get out before Halloween. I think The Last Voyage of the Demeter, I don't know what that it's shot though, so maybe next Halloween, maybe soon, I don't know, and maybe Five Nights at Freddy's by this Friday, we'll see. And Saddle Rash November 1st. That's my plan. Anyway, oh, that's a cool idea, Cornbread, with Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. Yeah, sure, I will totally. I would love to do that, actually. That's really good idea. I like that. All right. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through Super Chats, where I drink this amazing monster juice for Day of the Dead, or through the Patreon, where you get all sorts of cool stuff. I'm about to mail out postcards and an exclusive film rant video Halloween picture, which I know is late, but it will be mailed this week, and there'll be a Thanksgiving one and a Christmas one, as well as you get more power in the movie review vote. Hint, hint, you should go to the movie review vote and vote if you have not, because it's there, and you have, I forget how many days, and then it's going to become unlisted, and you can't vote anymore. But you get more power and get to select a movie for a patron. You're going to get the Ride with a Stranger video, which is going to come out this week with commentary. It really is. I really filmed it. And all sorts of stuff. It also helps me do all sorts of stuff. That was Toulouse. I don't know if you heard that, but he's okay. He's older cats. But will help me eventually do podcast hosting, do stickers, flyers, actually get new, help me publicize the channel, get some, if you want this to grow and stuff like that and support, or just you like it and you like exclusive stuff, then please pledge to the Patreon. But if you financially are not able to do so, just liking this video or subscribing or just watching, I really, frankly, thank you very much. That's really cool of you and really amazing of you. Also, I want to, anyway, thank you very much for the support if you are able to do so. Next up, the Discord. It is an amazing community. If you've ever watched this and you're like, man, I wish this show was on a Wednesday, then I could fucking watch it. But until that day, until November the 15th, what was I going to say? You should go on the Discord and, you should go on the Discord and hang out with all these amazing people who are all there. They have cool, they watch Monster Squad this week. They do movie watches. Eventually, at some point, I will have the time to actually do that with everyone, and I really need to. But until then, you can go to the Ask Jim channel. You can go to the Playing Cards channel, which I forget it's licensed or whatever it is, but there's a playing, you can see what playing cards everyone has, which is really cool. You also can tell me about stories and stuff like that. The Ask Jim channel, actually, Cornbread, I think it was Cornbread, I believe it was Cornbread, majorly helped me out by telling me the movie review vote playlist was all messed up, and I fixed it. I am only one person, so, there's only so much, obviously mistakes will be made because there's only me here. But it's actually really an awesome thing. I'm really proud of what Austin and Zane Powers have done with that Discord. So also, Cornbread posted he always posts a image of what he thinks the thumbnail will be, and it got honestly really close. And really, I want to give this a lot of credit because he not only did, he got the right MST3K image, the MST3K image, and the Five Nights at Freddy's image was not an image I ended up using, but I thought about using, and then used the SpongeBob image, which was kind of like an in joke with a thumbnail. So I actually was like, this is maybe the best one. So I like that. Anyway, also follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. If you need any updates like that, I have a Facebook fan page, a Tumblr, and Instagram, which should have posted a image of this on. Oh well. But all sorts of cool stuff that you can check out in the description down below if you'd like to do that. Anyway. And after the 15th, I think I wouldn't do it the week of Thanksgiving, but I'll have the other dates closer. We'll figure it out. I think I'll tell you the next date during the one. So that's why just think of November 4th. November 4th. Think of that right now. That we know. Anyway. All right. Matthew Perry died tonight. I think I think it's, the Friends cast was one of the major pop culture icons, I think, of the mid and the rest of the 90s up until 2004. It was a huge, insane show. We still talk about it today. It's really never gone away in popularity at all. And he, I think, was kind of that part of that quirky kind of dude 90s thing of, like, I heard so many actors talk about how everyone was auditioning to be Chandler from Friends. Like, that whole, like, could you be any more of this? That was something he did as an actor. That's how he came up with that. Now, I also think he had a much more successful film career because of the whole 9 Yards and, like, other things. Like, he was actually, I think at the time of Friends, until Jennifer Aniston really blew up film-wise, it was kind of like Courtney Cox was the top because she did Scream, and that was a huge franchise. I remember debating this in middle school, and everyone's like, Courtney Cox is on Scream, she wins. And in a sense, they're not wrong there. But Matthew Perry was definitely like, I tweeted that thing out, what Friends star is in films with Bruce Willis. And because it's like, I don't know, I didn't want to be too corny and stuff, but I thought, that's always how I sort of remember him. Also, my brother used to randomly stand up and just shout Matthew Perry, and I got the joke, but he wouldn't do it, and it would. I remember he did it once, and I was like, nobody got that joke, but it's really funny. But it is very sad. I know he had his own demons. Currently, there's no reason to believe it was anything but an accident, although obviously autopsy and things are being looked into and all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm sad to see. He's the first of the Friends cast to die. A major figure of the 1990s. a major figure of sitcom comedy. It it's it's a very sad day, and it's shocking. I was really surprised. I was, you know, also puppet. I got that joke, Jim's brother. But I think, probably a better actor than we give him credit for. Also, it's Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I don't know. But, very sad day to lose somebody like that from such an iconic thing that just never goes away. So it's going to be, kind of weird to think how he is not around anymore. But, and I think he was the kind of character and person who, when I was a kid, I very much related to. So it's it's sad. I think there's no way to, not think about everything he accomplished and everything he was and everything he got to do and with a huge part of pop culture he was. So I hope, I hope his family and friends are doing okay. I'm sure they are not tonight, but, thoughts and prayers, as they say, but in memoriam, and I hope, I don't know. I would say if you are bummed about it, watch your favorite Friends episode. Watch whichever movie you are most fond of him. I know the whole 9 yards and the whole 10 yards have not necessarily, we don't talk about those so much anymore, but other than the Chronic of Narnia lyric, which I think we all remember. I actually have a reference to that in my new cartoon, which I was like, ugh. Didn't recorded that a long time ago, and now it's, oh well. Anyway, I'm sad to see him go, and we'll do the rest of the in memoriam later. I just felt like I could not start the show mentioning that, but I think everybody was like, holy shit, it's definitely a sad day to lose someone like that. I think nobody saw that coming. So let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's, because it's kind of insane what's going on. I don't know if that's a good transition, but that's the transition we're doing. Five Nights at Freddy's on Friday made $39.4 million. I believe they said it's going to make up to 75. I honestly think, I was saying to people, I think it could make 20, like 100 million. I think, well, okay, I think the release was a fuck up because it's a day and date with Peacock, and I think that is a mistake, and I think the film industry majorly undervalued this property. I know they've been talking about it for a while. I think a lot of people thought, well, it's been so long, could this really hit as much as we all think it can? But I know like the younger generation was very hyped, particularly Gen Z, and much more than the older generation to quite an extreme degree. And the fact that they're making almost $40 million, which is actually more than Killers of the Flower Moon has made entirely in one day, is pretty insane. I'm not entirely its per screen average is 10,000, which is 10 times what Taylor Swift made on the same day. There's not even a close comparison. Per screen average 10,000. Jeez. Yeah, there's no comparison. Oh well, the holdovers on one screen in limited made 15, but that's one screen. This is a huge movie. I mean, I kind of knew it was going to be a huge movie. And the fact that we had two ripoffs, both, damn it, I always forget the first. Anyway, Willy's Wonderland, and what was it? God damn it, I always forget it. Anyway, now I'm gonna look it up because I know I tweeted that joke. Maybe I can do it before anyone else. This is embarrassing that I totally forgot it. But I do think, Banana Splits. Okay. But the fact that Willy's Wonderland and Banana Splits, that we had two of them before this, and they're both kind of like pretty major on-demand movies, I think should have showed them. But a lot of people have said, and I'll just say it now, I'm basically repeating people, but I agree with it, that by like this week, everyone expects a Five Nights at Freddy's sequel to be announced, and this will be a new franchise. It is interesting that apparently Universal, from what everyone's written, was very high on them doing the Exorcist films. Apparently it was a thing Universal wanted, and Blumhouse, they just asked Blumhouse to do it, and they're like, I guess. And now Five Nights at Freddy's was the thing that apparently Blumhouse was like, hey, this is going to work out. And Universal was like, I guess, but that Exorcist thing, that's going to work out. And like, obviously, it went the other way. So that's kind of the interesting thing. Like Blumhouse had like a pretty, I wouldn't say it's a real bomb because based on budget, The Exorcist Believer actually did okay. But despite the further cost plans, which I went over what that 400 million really means last time, check it out. If you need that, if you're confused, it's not what they say it is. However, I think Five Nights at Freddy's will be this big franchise for Universal. I don't think anyone in the film business fully expected it to become what it has, but I think it's their undervaluing of Gen Z. And there's particularly like, let's put it on day and date. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, why would you do that? Like, because so many people, like, what are the Peacock numbers? Like, I don't know. If a lot of people do sign up for Peacock with this, fine, but I don't think it's actually was a good idea. It should have just been theatrical, because I'm not going to see it in theaters. I'm going to watch it at home because I have the option, and I'm like, you know, even though I have Regal Unlimited and everything. Anyway, Lucas Anderson, thank you, Lucas Anderson, said, we have Austin right after that. Okay. We have two Austins? Why is Austin twice? I'm confused. Chat. What? That was weird. Anyway, I'll figure out that mystery. But since Lucas Anderson says, since Matt Pat and almost Markiplier cameoed, I didn't know about that. Anyway, cameoed in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Which movie would you and Saber Sparks cameo in? Oh my god. First off, cheers to you, Lucas Anderson. That's a thinker there. I think I would almost think it should be animated. I don't know. It would have to be like one of those religious things. Maybe Bible Man. If there's a reboot of Bible Man, I would do that. I think that would be appropriate. I think if it was one of those like bad CG religious films, I think we could be the live action segment. I feel like it would just be Saber. I think they would be like, why is Jim here? Probably like we're filming in New York and Saber needs a friend. And I would, you know, if someone else wasn't in town, I would get that job. Or he would be like, you know. Anyway, I think it. Yeah, I think it would be like one of those religious things. He always reviews really into. He's not really. Or if there was a VeggieTales thing. I think if there's a VeggieTales thing, we would cameo on that. We worked hard on that video. That was okay. It would have to be a religious animated thing. We just do two voices in it. We'd be like the banana and blueberry. Those aren't vegetables. Whatever. They'd get it to work. It's not my movie. Okay, why was Austin twice? Doesn't it? Okay. Anyway. That's so weird. Chat's being weird. Anyway. Christopher Columbus. Okay, Austin says Christopher Columbus was going to direct Five Nights at Freddy's. Note, he didn't discover America. He did discover Macaulay Culkin, Rent, and Pixels. First off, cheers to you. Do you remember when Twitter used to make Chris Columbus Day about the director Christopher Columbus? I've noticed that's gone away entirely. I do remember that. I'm surprised he didn't do it. He wanted to do like horror, and he was going to do a Daredevil in the 90s. He's definitely wanted to break out from his family-friendly thing, but I don't think he has. That's never worked out for him. But I do remember that. I'm curious what that film would have been. I have not seen Five Nights at Freddy's yet, but I plan to. Cheers to you, Austin. Okay. Sidram says, Jim, will you be seeing David Fincher's latest in a theater, or will you wait a few weeks for it on Netflix? This is to clarify for running David Fincher's new film, The Killer, which I've heard amazing things about, is playing in like a few theaters. It's not like Killers of the Flower Moon, which is an Apple film. This is just on in New York. It's just the Paris Theater, and I think two others possibly. I won't, because I mainly do the Regal Unlimited just because it cuts down on costs, and like money's always a thing for everyone. And I just, you know, I don't know. I have thought about it because everyone talks about how great it is. But I kind of also just, you know, if I can watch it at home, I'm always going to probably choose that, just because it's, you know, I got to go out, I got to all that stuff. So I'll probably watch it just because, but I would, you know, if I had more like infinite free time and money, I would. I do have that sort of option. People are surprised. A couple people who've asked me that I'm not like going to see it, but I think the difference between Killers of the Flower Moon is Killers of the Flower Moon. They teamed with Paramount, and Netflix and the theater chains are not friends by any means, and Netflix chooses not to be. I think they probably should, because the thing about Killers of the Flower Moon versus like and I might talk about this a little later, but well, first off, cheers to Cinerama. I don't know if I did that. I forget if I did, but cheers to you. The difference between Killers of the Flower Moon and even Scorsese's last film, The Irishman, sorry, was that like that was barely in theaters, whereas Killers of the Flower Moon, even though Amazon or Apple paid over $200 million for that, they bought it because they're Apple and they can spend 200. They like really doesn't matter to them. They do not even mention the Apple Plus on their earnings calls, which is like tells you how like insignificant it is to them. But even though they spent $200 million, which they totally knew they're doing to get the prestige and get people to sign up because they're like, oh, he's there, look what they let him do and stuff. They're still making money. Like they might not pay off that whole $200 million, but that was never the plan. And they're also going to get money from this theatrical release. So it's actually kind of a very smart plan. And I wish Netflix would do that, because Netflix, unlike these other media companies that have streaming services, like Netflix's only real revenue source is Netflix. So like if Netflix doesn't have a theatrical element, they're not making, I mean, I know they're talking about doing like physical locations and other things, but like, let's be real here, none of that is going to make significant amount of money. So I think they would be in the best interest to have given, especially now that like there's nothing coming out, not as many things coming out. I wish they had paired with somebody and actually gotten actually gotten it a real physical release. But anyway, I would like to Cinerama, if just kind of a time and money thing, and I can just watch it at home and be chill. So I think that's, I know that's not the coolest option. I wish I but maybe that week I can see another thing and The Killers and get more movies to watch. Am I Irish? No, I don't think I am. Sorry. I think you're underselling merch, not gonna lie. I think Stranger Things merch and certain things sell a lot. I mean, like Gabby's Dollhouse and stuff like that does sell well, but it's not like they do not have another revenue stream. Like if they had theaters, like I think The Killer could make a good 40-50 million against like whatever they spent on it, and then they're like at least making some of that back. Like what if they're making half back and then it's on Netflix and you get the publicity of it? That's the other thing, is like it has been shown for real. It's only playing for theaters. It has been shown the publicity of a theatrical release helps a movie do better on streaming even. So like not doing theatrical is sort of a stupid idea, to be honest. The way they're doing it with Apple is very smart. Anyway, sorry, we like majorly went off. Thank you. Like started me on a thank Cinerama, which is my own fault. Before we get into a bunch of stuff, I think we sort of have to talk about SAG and what's going on. I don't know if this is a thing you guys are like super fucking sick of, because you're like, why is this such a big deal all the time? You got to be talking about this crap, but it's majorly handicapping and hurting the industry. First off, I'm in support of SAG, and I agree that they should have a strike, but this is more about SAG's leadership and the perceived failure that everyone is feeling, or at least is being told to feel. So the kind of I want to talk about what's rumors and what have been reported by people who are credible and have good sources and are not being like paid off, and several of them have said that, so I'm inclined to believe it is true. But the first things is that Fran Drescher is sort of messing this whole thing up. We've heard these rumors that she has like a weird stuffed animal she's using with the negotiations, that she's too hands-on. I don't know if any of that is true. The only thing that we're more 100% on, and I'd be willing to say did happen, is when she was doing that call with all the celebrities, which was real stupid, that whole thing, but not on her end, on their end. She wanted to take like sort of a selfie of the kind of Zoom call of all these celebrities. That's actually more of, if you're the SAG president, you're supposed to like keep memories of all the things you accomplish, and she wanted to do that with this huge meeting. And apparently Tyler Perry was like, I don't want to do that. Let's just get down to business, and was super annoyed. So apparently that is true. It sounds to me like kind of a misunderstanding of like, hey, this is a big deal. We're all together on this, and I wanted to historically save the moment. This is fine. But Tyler Perry is not like super big on unions, so not surprising there. The other thing is, first off, and a couple of people have brought this up since last show, which I didn't think about or didn't know about or whatever, is what was the major stoppage, which kind of derailed the SAG negotiations with the AMPTP, which things were going well, and then they like stopped meeting for a little bit, was the idea that SAG was asking for a cut of like what every basically a cut of the money that every customer pays for their streaming service. That is something that Wall Street was never going to let happen. Basically, Wall Street would freak out because that sets a precedent. So the WGA needs that, the DGA needs that. Every union in Hollywood would need a cut of that, and apparently Wall Street is basically like, do not do that ever. It was a dumb idea the way they did it, from our understanding. Obviously, I was not in the room. It's not a thing they should have gone out for. It's kind of like, I feel like the problem with the SAG thing is we're talking about all these side points, and we're like, can we just like talk about the AI stuff and the residuals and like things of that nature, and not try to like, ask these things as like, yeah, that would be cool, but it's just like, I don't know, just real stupid. Anyway, the thing that has been reported, and a lot of them are saying kind of like, sadly, because they don't want to undermine the leadership, but you have to go with a big story if you have it, and I understand that, is that all those celebrities who met were not happy with what Fran Drescher is doing, and felt that they would write a letter of leadership no confidence, I believe it's called, where hello Sapaminki, I think Sabi Mike, anyway, sorry. They would ask for the leadership to be stripped and have a new leadership come in if negotiations fail next week, because the AMPTP has put out there, like, if there isn't a deal by next week, they will just wait till January, and that will take away an entire season of television. That will fuck over, like, I will right after this get into the movie delays, that will destroy pretty much summer 2024. We are talking about a major catastrophe if they do not like finish this, which I'm annoyed at both sides at this point. I think the AMPTB should have looked at the cut of the streaming things and just been adults and either said, you know what, I'm going to go home, we'll be back tomorrow, but whatever the fuck that was needs to go away. Like that should have been it. But it is just like, I don't really understand what's going on. But the fact that like people are like, if you don't get this deal, you are gone. And there are other issues with Fran Drescher and that group of leadership, because they took away like a lot of older SAG members' health insurance, for example. People were not super high on her before this. But yeah, we could feel the impacts. If this is not finished next week, that is insanely bad. And there could be ramifications of this for years and years. And not to be freak anybody out, but it is like very imperative. I was really hoping that I could start the show and and just be like, the whole fucking thing's over, they did it, they have to ratify it, whatever the fuck, and it's like done, we're like, yay. And now it's just like, they have pushed it too far, they have fucked this up. So anyway, it is that bad. You should be a little freaked out. I don't mean to be a jerk, but that's just the deal right now. But I have heard from the usual kind of bigger reporters, Jeff Snyder, Justin Kroll, all those people, that there has been a letter already written of leadership no confidence that they're prepared to send all the biggest members to get them out if they fuck this up next week. So if next week does not go well, expect some shit to go down. That's all I'm saying. Hello, Zane Powers. And How are you doing? And Malcolm Rampart, I think. I'm sorry, you're rocking that beard. Thank you. Have a good Halloween. You have a happy Halloween or a spooky Halloween or a good. I hope you have a good Halloween. Cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. Anyway, I'm sorry to be like that bummer at the beginning of the show, but the problem with the SAG stuff is I like to do it early just because it impacts all these other stories. So I don't want to be like, oh yeah, well I'm talking about that later and bullshit. So it's just like, whatever. Let's move on. But yes, it is. We're in a scary position right now. I was really hoping today there'd be news or somebody. But anyway, where are we? So the movie delays. I want to do this in the right order because there is an actual reason to do this in the right order, because one of the movies that moved majorly impacted what happened with the other animated films. So first off, Mission Impossible 8 moved from, was going to come out next year, June 28th, 2024, and its new spot is May 23rd, 2025. Sorry. The other news with that is that they're taking away the Dead Reckoning Part 2 title, and they're going to rename it something, as well as Dead Reckoning Part 1, they've said in various reports, will now just be called Dead Reckoning, but when I looked on any on-demand service, I actually I checked, and they haven't changed it. So I don't know when that change is occurring. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not sure when it's on physical media, but they have said that it will henceforth just be just Dead Reckoning. Although Part 1 is like super small, so like I think for most people it is just Dead Reckoning, but there will not be Part 1 any longer. As well as, I think the bigger thing that had more ramifications, well, first off, A Quiet Place Day 1, which Lupita Nyong'o is the star of, has now gone to June 28th to take Mission Impossible spot instead of March 8th, 2024. That's not surprising, as well as If, which is a fantasy comedy starring Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, which I believe he directed, Alan Kim, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, has moved up from May 24th to May 17th. I don't even know what that is, but they moved it up. And the Paramount has a lot at stake with Krasinski because of the Quiet Place franchise. But the bigger thing that's impacting stuff that we will talk about is the fourth SpongeBob SquarePants movie had a May 23rd, 2025 release date, was going to be sort of the big summer movie animated film, and has moved where did it move to? We're getting all lost in the tabs here. Has moved to December 19th, 2025. I'm a little skeptical of this movie because we don't have a title. I don't know much about it, and it feels like something that was probably going to move anyway, but it kind of like started this domino effect, which I think resulted in Pixar moving Elio from this year on March 1st, and I knew my daughter wanted to see it, I'd heard kids actually talk about it, all the way to June 23rd, all the way to June 13th, 2025. I think this works, so everyone's like kind of bummed about that, but I actually think it sort of works out because this year we're getting Inside Out 2 next summer, this coming summer in 2024, we're getting Inside Out 2. There's no way Elio was going to get the same kind of attention, and I think it sort of makes sense to give it a better release date when you look at what happened with Elemental, that people will see an original Pixar movie in the summer, and giving it a kind of crappy March date was maybe not the greatest. And like, if you're like, well, if we put it out then, if we put it out then, we can get more attention, probably more awards love. Whereas Inside Out 2 is like the baby of the guy who runs Pixar right now. So of course it's going to get preferential treatment. So I think maybe they're like, and maybe they didn't have anything planned in 2025. I think it might actually work out, to be honest with you. But it did, like, because they saw that there wasn't going to be a major animated film with SpongeBob, they're like, well, might as well swoop in there too. And so I do believe, I didn't hear anyone from Disney or Pixar comment on that, but I do believe right when they saw SpongeBob move, they swapped it in, and I think maybe they were like, we need to be smarter about a release date and how we're going to manage Pixar. This might work out, but we'll see on that. But it is a huge pushback, and I do think it'll disappoint people because I saw people getting excited for that trailer a while ago, and now it's going to be even longer. Austin says, pulling an Edge of Tomorrow, live, die, repeat again. Yeah, I know. People have brought that one up a lot, and I don't think it's not as extreme as live, die, repeat. And I think that's like way late in the game. It's interesting when they do that, especially because you publicized a movie with a different title, and then you're going to change it on DVD. Like, doesn't that like hurt audience wise? Like, they're not going to find it as easily. It's just bizarre. But I think Dead Reckoning could work out for it. But I'm curious what the next title will be. I'm also curious if the last Mission Impossible didn't do super well, so maybe they just want to give it a better release date where it doesn't have to fight against Barbenheimer, which it very much was got hurt by that. But yeah, hello, Carter Wright. I'm glad to see you here. That's awesome that you are here. I saw someone said, first off, yeah, cheers to you, Austin. Asked about John Waters movies real quick in the chat. I think best way to start is to start on like Crybaby or Hairspray or something like that. I wouldn't go full into Pink Flamingos first, but I would say one of those two. Anyway, where were we? Oh, the other thing that moved was kind of the big move, which, you know, all the racist people were super into. The live action Snow White moved from this year, March 22nd to March 21st, 2025, which I think was going to be one of the bigger Disney movies. Obviously, there's probably some reshoots possibly, or like redubbing that they couldn't do in time, which is sort of like what happened to Deadpool 3, which still doesn't have a date. Nothing took over that date. I think people are sort of waiting for next week. Yeah, I do not get the Rachel Zegler thing. I guess it's because she said she didn't really like the original Snow White. I don't know. I don't really love Disney remakes, so it's like I'm more, why are we doing this at all? But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like a great movie. I just wish like the conservative people, like, I don't get your hate for her so much. I don't know. I don't also get like why a Hunger Games movie, like, people are like excited it's gonna do well. I'm like, I'm very lost on like why you would want any more of those. Like, that just seems like kind of weird to me. Like, it feels like that's like over. But I don't know. I'm a little curious because like got Viola Davis and Jason Schwartzman, and like kind of curious about it. But I don't know. I'm like on the fence if I'm gonna see that. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are that into Hunger Games. Actually, in the chat, are you guys into Hunger Games? I'm actually a little curious. Are you going? First off, would you want me to review it? Are you into that franchise? And are you gonna see it? There we go. 3 questions. I literally would like to know. I'll probably read through the chat later because I'm fucking curious. All right. Let's see. I think that's all the delays. I think I got all the delays, but I expect a lot more if shit goes down. Austin, no. Okay, we'll do this and then I'll do Mystery Science Theater season 14. So, David Yates did an interview because I believe he has a movie on Netflix or something. No, it's okay. Don't bother. I like how many people are like, yeah, nah, it's cool. I'm super not into, wow, a lot of this, like, all right. David Yates, who directed all of the Fantastic Beasts films and directed the kind of later half of the Harry Potter franchise, has said that they're kind of on a halt with the Fantastic Beasts. There are 3 of them. I saw the first 2. Yeah, I think so. I didn't see the 3rd one. And he brought up that they were considering doing another one, but the whole thing of them being 5 films, apparently, like, J.K. Rowling just said at a press screening, and they're like, oh, okay, news to us. I don't know if that's, like, not to give J.K. Rowling, like, any credit at all. Part of me thinks they just said that because they're like, yo, that shit is done, so, like, whatever, that lady crazy, and it's like, I get it to a certain degree, but I also, everything I read about how that franchise was run was pretty bad. They were also, like, not good movies. Like, it just sort of stunk, and I don't think anybody really wanted that kind of Harry Potter. You know, it's like, I don't know. I also think franchises need breaks. I think one thing that really helped Star Wars was that from 1983 to 1999, there were no new Star Wars movies. And it's like, I remember kids like freaking out about anything that was Star Wars, and it built up this like kind of special value. Same with like, there were no comic book movies, and suddenly there were good comic book movies. And like, that build up like means something. And like, I think a lot of these studios should be like, okay, I need to like try something else. You know, it's like, do what George Lucas did and like date Linda Ronstadt and make a Howard the Duck movie. Like, come on. Like, it worked out for Lucas. Not with either of those things, but, you know, in general. All right, sorry. Everyone forgets he dated Linda Ronstadt. Anyway, Nathaniel Foga, first off, thank you for the super chat, Nathaniel Foga. Cheers to you. And says, think the Snow White let's start over. Let me do an edit. Sorry. I think the Snow White remake will be any better than the two Snow White films. Oh, do you think? Okay, sorry. It's okay, Nathaniel Foga. Anyway, do you think the Snow White remake will be any better than the two Snow White films from 2012, Mirror Mirror and Snow White and the Huntsman? I did not see Mirror Mirror. I did not see Mirror Mirror. Not good at speaking. I did see Snow White and the Huntsman. I think Snow White and the Huntsman was fine design-wise. First off, cheers to you. I didn't see the sequel of that, or midquel, because I think it takes place midway or something, if I recall correctly. But yeah, maybe I don't know if I'll see Mirror Mirror, but man, remember that? That was so weird. Why did they make two of those? That's a strange time period. Very strange. The only one that I think sort of worked out was Snow White and the Huntsman, I guess. Sydney White is an underrated Amanda Bynes chick flick. Okay. Maybe I'll watch a trailer. Everyone's like, Sydney White. I've never even heard of that. Jennifer Lawrence's best movie, in my opinion, is Mother. I don't see. I think her best. I actually think what she's doing now. Okay, best movie. Maybe Mother. I do actually really like her as an actress, as a person. I think what she's doing in No Hard Feelings is sort of better for her. Although I did think, I don't know what her. See, the thing is, like, I think a lot of times I like her more as her performance, but I don't necessarily like the movies she's in, if that makes sense. Anyway, next up, Mystery Science Theater season 14. So what's going on with this? They're doing a new crowdfunding thing through mysterysciencetheater.com to get season 14. It's a big crowdfunding thing. What they're trying to do is they ultimately want, where were we? Let's make season 14. Let me go down to okay, what they're ultimately trying to do, and the most they want to do, is both what they are calling surgically enhance older episodes, like kind of restore them and make them tip-top shape for the Gizmoplex, possibly make 12 episodes and 12 shorts at the most if they get $7.4 million. I believe they have $1 million right now. I have not gotten to give any money as of right now or support, but with the lowest, I think 4.8 would be 6 features and 6 shorts and 18 surgically enhanced episodes. So it's basically like they're doing another crowdfunding thing. What they basically explained, and I think makes perfect sense, is although they do have the Gizmoplex, and they did actually get a lot of people signing up and doing the season pass things who did not give to the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding or whatever company or thing they're using. And they did want to change because season 13, they didn't like the shipping company. It took a while to get the things out and all that stuff. But they're an independent company. I do think, I do think like it works out because I think season 13 was much better than 11 and 12. I think it was a really good season of MST3K, and I kind of think it works more for the indie vibe of it. And I like Gizmoplex. I haven't watched it at all since the season was over. I mainly watch episodes on Pluto. Apologies, but that's kind of what I do. Like, I'll just put it on and watch part of an episode or watch a full episode. But I think it's honorable that like they even bring up in the thing that like the $7 million they're asking for is like $7 million is basically like what they spend on one episode of Star Trek or one episode of Loki probably costs like $20 million or something like that, and they're asking for 7 for all of this content. I'm cool with them doing this every season. They're basically like, this is what we're gonna do. This is our business model. I think that is totally cool if that's what they want to do to get them, and I think it's a cool independent vibe. I do want them to break out from the cult of it, like in a sense, like get more people in. I feel like Emily is good at doing that. Now, the one kind of elephant in the room, I guess, or kind of unspoken thing is we got Joel and various people who work on the writers and stuff, but unfortunately, Emily and Jonah can't really do anything because I guess they haven't got an exception from SAG or a SAG waiver or something like that, so they can't sign deals with them, and they don't want to. They're in solidarity. I'm not exactly sure like why they can't, because they're like such a small company. I feel like that's kind of bullshit. I feel like they should be able to, if my honest opinion, because I don't think like, unless Jonah and Emily aren't, I don't know. And I'm curious, like, of these, if they do the full 12 features, how many will be Jonah episodes? How many will be Emily's? And how many will be Joel's? Will Joel just do all of them if this SAG goes on forever? I don't know. But I'm excited for it to come back. As you know, I reviewed all of Hello Javier, all of the last season. I would like to do more random ones, but it's just life's always too many things going on. I still watch it actually pretty. Oh, you saw Jonah protesting. Okay. And also working at a bar. I hope he's doing okay. But I did cover all of that, and I try to cover and review Mystery Science Theater episodes, and I will continue to, and I'd like to, contribute to the pledge and get my Mystery Science Theater t-shirt as I usually do. I'm okay with this. I know some people are, I've seen there very little backlash, but a little bit. I would just say, I have watched all of season 12, but I should do reviews of it too. Thank you, Oster, for reminding me. But I do think it's a fine business model. I guess people are like, hey, we paid for Gizmoplex, and that this time it's just a season. And I think that's fine because it's a small production. And, if we want more, we're now the network. It's no longer a network. And I think without a network, like Netflix never was really great at it. And I think how they handled this with... I think how they handled this past season was actually pretty good, because like having an episode like them premiere, it was easier to catch up with. It was easier to see what's going on. It was easier to get attention for all that stuff. I think it sort of worked out in a way a lot better, because I think season 12, that was a disaster in terms of coverage, because I knew people who covered MST3K and were like, it's Thanksgiving, and if you cover other movies, that's a huge movie time, and you can't dedicate... A lot of people who covered the last season didn't cover the next one, even though it was shorter, just because it was just too much going on. I knew people who just watched Mac and Me and didn't watch the other, because there's a ton going on in that season. And had they released just Mac and Me, success, release the next one in January, but like very few people made it that far, and there were less episodes. So I think it's like, they're definitely doing it right, and I think with season 14 they'll continue to do more. Logan Hill. Hello, Logan Hill. I don't think you've given a super chat or anything before, so thank you very much. Said, I agree. If A24 can, why can't MST3K? Cheers to you. Awesome attitude there. So, I don't know. We'll see what's going on. I wouldn't mind some kind of special things. I also... and I'll say this every time, I know I've said it to death in a lot of ways, I want Mike to come back in at least one episode. I have the only person that for real I have nostalgia for to come back at this point is him and Kevin Murphy and Bill other guy. Anyway, sorry, that wasn't a diss. I'm just... long day, and then I have to think of names and stuff. Anyway, the cast that I want Riff Tracks to do one. Basically, that's who I want. I think that's like the only people who haven't come back. I wouldn't mind if Trace comes back. I like Trace, and Frank should come back. I said Frank Morgan because I watched MST3K. But I would like everyone to. I would like, let's get all the cameos in while everyone's still alive, and not to be a jerk or something like that. But let's like get all the cameos. I think I know Mike has not cameoed, and I would like those guys. I think no, he came back as Bobo. Didn't Kevin Murphy come back as Bobo? Bill Corbett, yeah. I think let's get everybody back. Let's really do it up. I know Mike Nelson's doing his own thing, but like just pay him, give him a bunch of money. I wouldn't mind a Mike Nelson comes back episode with the Sci-Fi Channel crew and all that stuff. Did I ever mention that I found it interesting to find out that I don't do Nostalgia Critic stuff anymore. People got mad weird. I had some issues with that towards the end, but I will say this: I think it's very telling that the kind of Channel Awesome crew love the Sci-Fi Channel era of Mystery Science Theater, and I was like, that is interesting because you're the only ones I've ever heard of that make stuff and are super fans. It's usually like this interesting group who got in at that time, but like they're my age around, and most people I know like Joel or Mike Comedy Central more and still like episodes from it, but they like prefer that. And it's just like, what is going on? Anyway. All right. Yeah, I hope it works out for MST3K. I'm excited. I will probably give money to it. We have 28 days left. Hopefully I will. I don't know. It's a little crazy time. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna just talk about random trailers this time. I'm not gonna have a trailer section, which I will hate myself for when I'm doing the timestamps. But we'll see. Anyway, we'll talk about this trailer and then the Looney Tunes movie, Lisa Frankenstein. This trailer came out of fucking nowhere, as far as I'm concerned. Didn't hear about it, but is a movie from written by Diablo Cody and directed by Zelda Williams, that is, who is named we know for sure, named after the Zelda video game because she is the daughter of Robin Williams. I did not know she was into directing. She seems like a cool person. As long as I've known about her, she's always seemed really cool. I don't know if that means she'll make a good movie. I've never seen anything she's directed. I don't know if she's directed anything before, but it seems like a cool concept about a kind of weird kind of goth girl sort of who brings back a boy in a cemetery that she's fallen in love with, and she sort of has this like, I guess, Frankenstein friend or possibly boyfriend. It looks like, even style wise, it looks like it wants to be one of those weird cult movies. I find it really interesting that, I have not seen Jennifer's Body. I want to say that. Most people I read at the time who were horror fans and fans of her didn't really like Jennifer's Body, but were super nice about the negative reviews. Like some of the nicest negative reviews I've ever read were basically like, I know she likes this stuff, but didn't really wear it, blah, blah, blah. And now on the trailer, it's like not from the writer of Juno. It's like from the writer of Jennifer's Body. I was like, wow, that movie has like changed so much. But most of the reviews I remember from actual horror critics were not like, what an idiot. It was more just like, I think she tried and she seems to really like this stuff. It was much more like, I didn't read it as condescending, maybe if I looked at some of those now, but it was more just like, oh, it missed the mark, but I think maybe next time. And like, it was like much more optimistic than you usually see from that. But, what? I'm confused. I'm a little confused what's going on. Something's going on in the chat. I don't know. I can't really understand, but someone can tell me later. Anyway, but yeah, it looks like a cool movie. It looks like it wants to be a cult movie, which is kind of interesting because I felt like in the early 2010s, late 2000s, we were really going for that, and I think now we've sort of moved away from that, and it's kind of cool that that's come back. I'm a little more here for it. Maybe I should make a video about like, it was like from Snakes on a Plane to like the Nicolas Cage, was it Drive Me, whatever? Like there was a whole arc of it, but Snakes on a Plane was the beginning of it. It was like movies made to be cult movies. It was like from Piranha 3D. I think when Piranha 3DD or Double D came out, it was clearly over. Although I had fun with that movie. I didn't see, some people really hated that stuff who like cult movies, and I think some of them were kind of fun. Piranha 3D, I had a good old time watching that in the theater, and we were all laughing. And it was cool. I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with watching a piranha eat somebody's dick? I think that sounds like a good time in the movies. All right, so Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up. I think most people were shocked by this announcement because we're all, to be clear, we're all aware of this movie and nobody thought it was going to be released. And suddenly it came out that they're actually trying to go out and make, go out and sort of like launch brands with this, sell deals with this. They're kind of figuring stuff out. I know it's going to be on the theatrical American film market starting on Halloween to November 5th. So we'll see what happens there. And that it is supposed to come out, I believe, what do they say? Q2 2024, which is not too far off. Now, I actually, and it's supposed to be about Daffy and Porky trying to basically, I guess, stop the world from blowing up. If you watch the Pete Browngarten Looney Tunes, which this is basically an extension of that creatively, it's like seems to be a lot of the creative team and stuff on a feature. The ones that were in the ones that they were in were always kind of standouts. My daughter always liked those. They're kind of fun. I think they might be more beloved, I think, in my house than the maybe the Bugs. I don't know. Bugs really, it's Bugs, so you can't really do that. So I'm a little surprised they're not going with Bugs. I'm sure he'll have a part in this at some. I'd be surprised if he didn't. But I always like those. Especially in the Christmas special, which you watch every year. But they're so really great shorts, and I think that is kind of one of the standout unsung too. But I think my one thing with this, and I want to say this. I think, okay, Cornbread says that partially inaccurate. We did know about it, and we didn't know how it was be released. And suddenly it's like, oh, it's going to theaters, and that sounds amazing, given how great the Max Looney Tunes have been. If you haven't watched the Max Looney Tunes reboot, which has, I guess, run its course at this point, those are really, really great, and probably the greatest follow-up to Looney Tunes we've ever seen. Like, it's a really good reboot. It's, like, really fantastic. But anyway, I want to just say before I kind of say my worries about it is I plan on, when there's a trailer and stuff, like showing my daughter and taking her and possibly taking my son. So I'm already going to buy 3 tickets. I am going to support this, and I support Looney Tunes and all that. My main issue with this is I was a little surprised this isn't going right to Max, because the new Looney Tunes, unless your dad is an animation dork, most kids don't know about it at all. Frankly, they just don't. So I think like the problem I would see is how are they going to market this? Because I don't know how much this movie, how much it costs if it's like super low budget, but I don't want the same thing to happen with what happened to like Ruby Gillman or something, where it like totally bombs because everyone's like, kids don't really know who Daffy and Porky are. And it doesn't matter the quality of the film. Like maybe people will say, oh, parents will take their kids and stuff. Maybe, but like you kind of need to like get the kids into it. So I really want to know what the marketing is for this, because like that I think could be a real linchpin of this whole thing. However, if you've not watched Looney Tunes reboot on Max, or if you have any way to watch it like on YouTube or anything, I like one of the highest recommendations. I think it's one of the greatest things that's happened in animation lately. Yes, we should have all covered it more, and I include myself in that. I've only done a few of those. Maybe when this comes out, I'll review some of my favorite Daffy Porky ones or something like that of this new modern era, because they're absolutely fucking fantastic. I think some of the best animation stuff we have going right now. But yeah, I think marketing wise, they really have to do this really well, because I really don't want because this is the first time there's been a fully original animated Looney Tunes movie in theaters. Now the difference is you had Back in Action and Space Jam with people in them and stuff, but then also you had the ones before in the 70s and 80s where they'd make a few segments which were very badly animated, wraparound segments, and they'd have some of the better Looney Tunes shorts within it, like the Bugs Bunny movie or the Looney. They had a ton of them, and none of them, people really don't like any of them now. That's why you're probably like, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. Because I think it's like Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck movie, or there's the Looney Bugs Bunny movie or something. Like, they have like real dumb titles, and they're not good. I don't I tried to watch one and I was like, why don't I just watch the cartoons? Like they're a bunch of things back in the day, 70s and 80s, where like the release model sort of worked, but like they don't age well. Like the That's Entertainment series, it's like, here's a bunch of clips from musicals, and people loved it because you watch those musical sequences in theaters. But like, why do you need That's Entertainment when VHS comes out and you can just like watch those movies? So I mean, sometimes there's like victims of like they're only really meant to exist in that time period, and that was those movies. But that was a huge digression. I apologize. But this is, I think, really promising. I hope this does well and we get more of these, and maybe we can have regular Looney Tunes movies. But my one real question, fact-wise, is how much does this cost? And two is like, how are you going to market it? And it doesn't make me feel good that this, Q2, I believe that is like around summer and so forth. Like, you get SpongeBob's gone, so you have like, potentially all your real competition be Inside Out 2, if I'm getting the quarters right. I don't know that stuff super well. But I just like market this one really well, and maybe promote the Looney Tunes better on Max. Like, they never really have it be at the front. Like, I honestly didn't know when seasons came out, and we watched a fair amount of them. So like, I don't know, if they're really gonna do it, please do a good job at pushing this stuff, because it's like, what's the point in you spending all this money and them just like sitting in obscurity? Because I think there's a lot of people who would really like them. Like, I don't know, same with like the Mickey Mouse shorts on Disney. Like, those both ended recently, and I felt like everybody just like doesn't know about them who aren't into this stuff. I thought that was kind of unfortunate, to be honest with you. I think if you're making good stuff, like, tell people about it. What's the fucking problem? Anyway, Logan Hill, thank you again for your generosity. Says, thoughts on Back in Action. Dante's was great. IMO. I don't have Max, but the recommendation might get a free trial out of me. I think you can watch some on YouTube, or at least you could. I would go around searching. I think you can watch a review before you spend the money. I have done a whole review of Back in Action, so check that out. But I like Back in Action a lot. I think it is probably, until this movie, hopefully, that's coming out, is probably my favorite Looney Tunes movie. Oh man, we're getting late here. All right, cheers to you, Logan Hill. I did not realize the time. Anyway, but yeah, you can go watch my review. I talk about it at length, but I like it in general. All right, where are we on this? Jeez. Uh-oh. Talking too much about random ass bullshit. All right, let's my little section about, well, I had to go on about that because that was in the little image there. All right, I forgot about Space Jam 2. I totally forgot. No, it's okay, Logan Hill. It's okay. I didn't mean it. Not shaming you. I was just saying you can watch that also. It was like last year or something. It was a bit ago. Anyway, so these are kind of some Marvel updates that I don't think enough people are talking about, really. It looks like Spider-Man 4, because No Way Home was 3. So this would be the first of any of them have done no, wait, because they were in No Way Home, so never mind. Anyway, but this is the fourth one. They're saying it'll probably be starting production, because I think the strike will be over by the end of 2024. It'll be starting production 2024, and Summers and McKenna, who were writing the previous ones, are back as writers, as well as Thor 5 is in development. Apparently they're looking at getting different writers than previously. Oh, nice, Cornbread. That is, Gremlins 2 is a good Lady Tunes movie too. They're looking at doing a new development with Thor. I wouldn't mind. My favorite Thor comic is one Walt Simonson did, where it's just Thor fighting a dragon. Like, just make a whole movie of Thor fighting a dragon. I don't need any of that other stuff. Just Thor, a dragon, hour and a half. You can make it 70 minutes. Pack in a lot of show times. Just make it like really, really cool. I think that would be awesome. Really, I'm not a Thor comic fan at all. But when I ran the blog, the Tumblr comic scans, I went through that issue a lot of times. And anyway, comic scans was so long ago. Jeez, I was going for long. Okay, I have to cut this down so we can take a break and I can do the segments. I apologize. All right. We'll talk about the Gen Z thing and a few other things. I'll talk about the Aqua Teen trailer came out. And I like it. I'm excited. It's like a abbreviated season. It starts around Thanksgiving. I think that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for more Aqua Teen. I'm glad that's continuing. But maybe I'll review the Phantasm movie around that time. I didn't get to that one, and I kind of feel bad about it. So I would like to do that maybe around then. Yeah, I was awesome. That's a good point because I know he's mentioned about his illness and stuff. Apparently, they're planning it, so I don't know. That's what I've heard. So this Gen Z sex and movies study has really been going on. Kind of UCLA did a study, and I actually read the study, believe it or not. It's not a great study, to be honest with you. I have my issues with it. About how Gen Z wants to see less sex in movies and wants more kind of like relationships that don't involve, people hooking up and stuff like that. My problem, I was looking through the study, it sort of isn't great because it does not, first off, it goes 10 to 24, and I don't really, I'm a little wondering like why you're asking 10-year-olds about sex in movies is strange. I'm not fully on board with that. Not sure what the cutoff should have been on that, but I think 10 might have been a little too young. And that it doesn't bring up, which a lot of people have said this, I'm not the first one who has said this, that does not bring up the prevalence of pornography on the internet, and for that generation, that was not true of previous generations who grew up in the 80s and the 90s and maybe not the 2000s because the internet hit. But like when porn wasn't as freely available as it currently is, and obviously because I think the internet, you'll follow somebody on Twitter and then you'll be scrolling through and you'll be like, what the fuck? Why didn't I follow this? I didn't follow porn. What's going on? Or Tumblr was like the worst at that. And so like you're being bombarded with it more so than you would have been when I was growing up. That just didn't happen. So I noticed like that did not play into this at all, which I think definitely changes how you feel about that sort of thing in a movie, because you're probably like, Jesus, again? And that I didn't really I really didn't like that they like didn't bring that up. It's like kind of a big part of media consumption is how there's like more of it. So I thought that was kind of a flawed study because like how can you not bring that up? Because I think most people talk about how like before they'd really like to see sex scenes, but that's because like they would have to get their older brother to buy a porno mag or something, and like it would cost $5, and like that's a different not to be gross or anything, but I think that's a different way of viewing those sort of things. I don't really agree with the negative sex scene thing. I think it's like it depends on what you're doing with it. I think you can say certain things with it. You look at, not to bring up No Hard Feelings again, but that's brought up with this study in a lot of cases. I thought that was fine. That was funny with Jennifer Lawrence like beating those people up naked. I thought was pretty funny and worked well. And it like all of the sex scenes in that movie, I don't know why this movie's coming up so much, said things about the characters. And there's certain things you say about characters through sex scenes and sexual activity that does say a lot about them and does say things about the storytelling. So I don't necessarily agree. I do agree with like the Olivia Rodrigo quote, which if you heard about this story, they keep mentioning this quote from her, and the quote is in the study. They sort of don't mention that in a few of the stories, which I find weird. I just find that strange, but it's basically like, most of the time I see women in a movie, it's either them being, I'm paraphrasing because I saved like a weird link and now I can't find the actual study, that says that basically that like most times she sees women in a movie, they're doing something sexual or they're going through their trauma, and she was so surprised Barbie didn't do that. I think Barbie, I don't know, didn't fully not do one of those, but either way, I get her point. That it's usually some of those things, and I do get their point and what they're saying. A lot of it is like, I hate when rom-coms do this, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Those rom-coms for teens that I never watched? Like I was a little lost on, seems like it was very generalizing some of the quotes, but it is interesting that people want less of that. But to me, it's like, if you don't want that stuff, just I would say like make a clear message to them. I think the studios will sort of listen to that because it's getting a lot of talk about it, and UCLA is pretty well regarded in the film industry, so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw less of that. I don't think that's like going away entirely, but I'm a little surprised people are a little more prudish about those things, and I've heard that Gen Z is having like less sex and stuff like that. I don't know if that's, I'm not exactly sure how we're getting those exact numbers, but irregardless, I don't know if that's what people want less of. I can understand. I don't think it's like, I'm not for the whole puritanical thing, but I do think like the consumption of those things and why people would want certain those things in movies have changed. And I think if you're going to talk about that, they should bring up the prevalence of pornography. But I also think, and Jordan Slovo's bring up the Hallmark movies, most of the people who bring those up is like they kind of want a return to the classic Hollywood sense. And I think there is sort of a need for that. And I honestly wouldn't mind that because I actually love classic Hollywood stuff. So I don't know. But I think, it depends on the movie. It depends on the context and stuff like that. I don't think there's as much as there used to be, but I feel like with Basic Instinct, which was forever ago, everyone talks about it because of that scene and had to see it because of that scene. And I don't think you could, if you did that now, I mean, the big scenes now are like, Jenna Ortega doing a dance and stuff. It's just like, it wouldn't really drive the needle as much as it used to because you can just find pornography somewhere. So I think some of it is just changed. And it's interesting how younger generation views that, but I do think I wouldn't mind more classic Hollywood views of love and romance because, if you can do it well, I don't really have an issue with it. But it was an interesting study, but I kind of think it should have been a little better. And I'm not fully on board with the youngness. Like, that's a little too close to cooties or gross and stuff to me. But maybe they had more reasons for it in the study. I did go through it, but I didn't see any justification for the young age in there. But anyway, Zane Powers says, remember how shocking 50 Shades of Grey was? I mean, I don't think it... Well, I guess people were sort of shocked by it. But yeah, that does feel like longer ago than it really was. But cheers to you, Zane Powers. I think, didn't the last one end in like 2016 or 17? Like, it went on... Because it took them forever to make the movie. Just like Five Nights at Freddy's. I actually was thinking that earlier. But, alright. One story, and I really... a lot of like talk on that. The Hays Code was the worst. Yeah, I don't know. And the thing is, like, the when people bring up like Revenge of the Nerds or Porky's and stuff, that was so long ago. I don't know if I don't think these kids in the study watch those movies. Maybe they did. I don't know, but I think that was sarcasm. Okay, sorry. All right. Is there anything? Oh, the one thing is I know people. Well, sorry, I was having fun. Anyway. Two things, and then I will take a break. There has been talk of an intermission people are putting into Killers of the Flower Moon. I totally understand wanting an intermission in a long movie if you're watching at home, but they will be in violation of their contract if theaters are actually doing that. And I know Thelma Schumacher, or whatever, how you pronounce her name, has complained publicly about that. She is Martin Scorsese's longtime editor. I do fully expect people to, maybe lose the movie over this if they continue doing it. I understand, like, they feel like there should be an intermission, but that's not the film they made. I know Tarantino did it in his movie, and it would have maybe been nice, but I'm a little shocked that theaters just chose to do that. But they'll definitely be in trouble with Apple and Paramount if they do. Apparently this is a little unconfirmed. Simon Kinberg, the worst writer, I don't know, he's not a great writer, said that there's going to be a Running Man remake directed by Edgar Wright that's going to shoot later next year or something. I don't know if that's true. And finally, last story before we do Obits, Josh Hartnett, it looks like, will be starring in the next M. Night Shyamalan movie, which is currently untitled, but the premise sounds really, really cool, which is Josh Hartnett will be at a concert with his daughter, and kind of the pop star will be played by M. Night's daughter, and like some spooky stuff I guess will happen. Is it some spooky? Apparently, it's formally already shooting. It's under the code name. Good. Where's the description? Okay, Shyamalan has revealed very little details, but Josh Hartnett will play a father heading to a musical concert with his son. Oh, I thought it was his daughter. Anyway, however, things quickly go awry as Hartnett gets caught up in psychological events that will take him for a ride. And his daughter, M. Night's daughter, plays the pop singer. Sounds cool. If you're wondering how they got this SAG agreement, it's because M. Night's films are done independently. He pays for them and then he sells them to the studio. So I think he was able to work out a deal. But Josh Hartnett's comeback is happening with this. It's because I know there's a lot of Hartnett fans. I'm interested that, anyway. But he's fully back and he's in an M. Night movie. And M. Night movies tend to do pretty well based on their budget. So I think, I believe there was a Jean-Claude Van Damme film where he did sort of a Die Hard. You know, they say Die Hard in the like Speed is Die Hard on a bus and all that stuff. In this movie, in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, is like Die Hard during a hockey game. I never saw that, but maybe I kind of want to now because I was reminded of it. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool, actually. I've heard, and every time people bring it up, it was kind of neat. All right, so I'm going to take a break. Before we do it, I do have two obits. One is Richard Mall, who was I've never really watched Night Court, and I would like to at some point. And I've seen him in a few things, but I can't think of them now. But he was the voice of Two-Face in Batman the Animated Series, and he was a great. The Two-Face was amazing, and I don't know, that whole arc. I remember when you first saw him because I read comics, and I remember watching it with a friend, and Two-Face and Harvey Dent walked in, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna see it. Or I was a kid, so I was like, oh man. We're gonna see Two-Face. So I knew Two-Face was coming. It happens pretty early in the season, but I remember the whole thing with that was a major part of like coming home after school was that whole thing, as well as and I really do mean this one is Richard Roundtree. I grew up in the '90s. There's a lot of Shaft jokes, Shaft references, a lot of that going on. I have seen only the original Shaft, but a few times, and man, that opening is truly amazing. I think he was a part of, Shaft has, I'm just talking about Shaft. But thing is like Shaft is sort of both the thing that brought in and showed Hollywood you could make a big blaxploitation film. It's also the kind of mainstreamy sellout version of what Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song is. He was also, a cop. There are problems people have with Shaft. However, Richard Roundtree didn't write Shaft, I believe, and was a great actor, and I've liked him in so many things. Anytime he shows up, I'm very happy. I think he's in Speed Racer. Right? He's in Speed Racer. He's in Brick, which was that scene in Brick, and I know Ryan Johnson gave a shout out to him. He was just amazing in that scene where he I don't know Mark Goodard as well. Oh, he's from Lost in Space. Well, R.I.P. to him as well. I'm sorry, I don't know everybody as well. Apologies, but that scene in Brick where him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are going back and forth, and it's totally a scene Shaft would have done back in the day. Was absolutely hilarious. Where he's like, "Then write me up, give me a detention." It's like because that whole movie is like playing off of like it's a noir in high school, and that's like the scene where like the whole thing. I don't know. That scene is made me laugh in the theater. I just thought it was so fucking funny, just absolutely hilarious. And Richard Roundtree like definitely played that with Joseph Gordon-Levitt really well. And the fact that he would do this like small indie when he's like such a legendary actor, really sad to see him go. Breast cancer survivor. People don't talk about it. It can happen with men, and he was a breast cancer survivor. I always liked his portrayal of Shaft. There's other blaxploitation actors, like particularly Pam Grier and James Brown and all those people. Not the... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think yeah, truly an iconic, sad death there. I think really like a pretty rich film career and a great actor, and sad to see him go. All right, I am going to take a quick break. What we're going to do, I might not do the thing about switching to an antenna because that was sort of a very loose segment, but I think we will definitely do a review of the Korn video Freak on a Leash, and then the Scavengers Row thing, and then questions. I think we might go a little long. I don't think that long, but we'll see. So if you need to go to the bathroom, now is the time. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the super chat so far. I will be right back after this, and yeah, I'll see you soon. I'll be right back, and we'll see you. I'll see you. Where's the thing? Anyway, I will see you shortly. Okay, cool. Be right back. I hear Mandela Butterflies here. Hello. Um. Oh, bring up issues. That's interesting. Um. Hey, Logan Hill, you're cool. Anyone who wants to chat can. You don't need to be a regular. Everyone is welcome at any time. I appreciate everyone being here and having their voice heard. Don't worry. And join the Discord if you're not already. Ryan Walterson is here. All right. The party can really start. Now that he's left a party and is by his computer, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, what did I miss except everything? I mean, you missed like the news stuff, but anyway, we'll just get into it because I would like to give everyone time for questions, and let's hope I don't run long. I'm not going to do the TV antenna thing. Maybe I'll do that later. I kind of want to mess around. I did. So basically, we'll get into that. I basically like got rid of the cable and bought a TV antenna. I want to talk about that, but we'll talk about that a different day. Yes. Okay, I'm going to take a drink of this just because I want to stay awake. And yeah. All right. So, I would like to do more music video reviews, and I didn't forget about the Gorilla series. I think I would like to keep that going. However, I wanted to review this, and I wanted to review this for a while because it was sort of this was a big music video of the 90s of me being a teenager, and had 3 directors that I really liked at the time. And they're all fine now, I guess. No audio. What do you mean no audio? At the time. Oh, there's audio. What are you talking about? Should be audio. Anyway, freaks me out. Hell's a poppin'. Thank you for keeping me on my toes, though. So this is, Korn's Freak on a Leash is what I'm talking about. This was directed by, the animated segments were directed by Todd McFarlane, who was, Todd McFarlane. He had done Do the Evolution the year before. This came out in February 1999, which that date is actually important. I was thinking about while watching, I was like, it's kind of crazy it came out then, but we'll get into that. But the live action segments, which also have heavy use of animation, are directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris, who, when they were music video directors, were some of my favorite music video directors. They did 2 Smashing Pumpkins videos, which I think are great, Tonight, and 1979. They did like a whole bunch of, I love 1970. That's a great music video. They did a bunch of really cool music videos, and they were like expressive and weird, and they'd work with all these different kind of cool people. And then they ended up directing Little Miss Sunshine and becoming sort of a different thing when they went to features. However, what I like, to describe this video, what I've always liked about this is the whole idea of this bullet that basically goes in the plot of this video from the cartoon segment to where Korn is in one poster to where Korn is playing in another segment. And you see, basically, there's an animated segment where these kids jump over to a ledge, which is basically the album cover from Follow the Leader, the Korn album. And I think, which is weird because, I don't know, the thing is I will say, Korn, I was not into before this album. I sort of got into for a little bit, and now I'm not a teenager. This song is fine, actually. I think watching people react to this song and this video on React channels was interesting because people were like, this is a good beat. Like, I think Korn had a very good rhythm section. Most of nu metal had very talented like bass players and drummers, and but especially Korn was very well seasoned. I mean, they're not the Deftones, who are like an actual really great band, but having that album cover, I loved Todd McFarlane as a kid. Spawn was a huge thing growing up because I went to a lot of comic book stores. So this Korn album very much was selling to me, and them getting Todd McFarlane and 2 music video directors I really liked made this video like a very big deal for me at the time when it came out. But they're recreating the music video cover, they're recreating the album cover. What it was they're doing hopscotch on a ledge, and there's a security guard guarding this ledge, and they have like gates and like barbed wire and stuff. Why, I don't know. But all these kids come over, and then there's like little kid versions of Korn for some reason that never comes back. It's really not important whatsoever, but it's just there, and you go, oh look, they're babies. And they never did anything with little Korn or Korn babies, or I don't know what you'd do with that, but they never a spin-off, a pup named Fieldy or something. But they went or Yo Corny. Oh, I like Yo Corny. Anyway, the little girl who's on the album cover does hopscotch, and then the security guard tries to stop him, and he falls, and his gun falls, and it shoots, and it misses the girl, but it goes outside of the poster that is a Korn poster, which is a different angle of the album cover for some reason, and then like goes and like just shoots all this stuff, and like shoots like a whipped cream can, goes by a fat dude coming in a jumping in a pool, pops 3 balloons, and goes with the rhythm of the song pretty excellently, destroys a TV, I forget all of them, like blows up a can of glass of milk at a cafeteria for some reason. None of it makes sense, and it's very expressive and weird, but it like keeps going through the everywhere. And it's just like kind of this cool idea of like, where is this bullet going to go, and go through these things. And then it comes into a different Korn poster, because there are so many. I mean, it was 99, so I guess it's not like completely ridiculous. But then goes into this Korn poster where Korn is performing. You actually do not see them till a minute in, which is pretty wild actually at the time. I have to say, I know people go, that's like the movie equivalent of, they didn't do the title card until like halfway through the movie. But it pretty insane actually, because most times with music videos, if you've ever had to make one with a band, they just want to do a performance. They don't want to do anything. And I will give Korn credit for getting a weirder video, a video like this made. But they come in through where they're performing, and there's like kind of all these like sort of bullet hole like things, like where the light's seeping in, it's all black background. They come in, and then Jonathan Davis does this weird, like, what I thought at the time was sounded like he was playing with action figures. It was like boom bop ba doom bop bo bida stuff, and it goes around the whole band, and like they each like play with the bullet, and then Jonathan Davis goes go, and then the bullet goes back and goes back to the cartoon and stuff. This was I think it really showcased the band. It broke them out from this thing. I watched a lot of Total Request live at the time. Oh, good night, Ramsey. And it was the only video to beat because usually 1 and 2 would be NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, and Korn would be 3, and number 3 was called the Korn spot, and Korn actually got to number 1. It was like a big thing at the time, and then got retired because they would retire videos on Total Request live, because otherwise NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys would just never leave. But and then it would win Best Rock Video at the Video Music Awards, and even won Best Video overall at the Grammys. Although that year they went to the Lauryn Hill for Doo Wop That Thing, which I'm still like, oh, it's a good video, but it's anyway. What I like about this is how like expressive and weird it is, and how like kind of the idea of this bullet going through. But I think the thing about it is this. This came out in February of 99. It came out before 2 kind of pretty crazy things. One was The Matrix. And not to get too crazy with this, but I did, when I was thinking about the date, because the whole like run of this video sort of was towards the end when The Matrix hit. And it's basically like literally what Jonathan Davis and the members of Korn do with it is bullet time from The Matrix a couple months before The Matrix came out. Now, I'm not saying they thought they like saw The Matrix early. This video obviously took a long time to make, is a lot of special effects and animation and stuff, but it's really interesting that this is like a month or 2, but literally before The Matrix hits, and does the bullet time thing, and it's like done before. Not that I think they both were just on similar wavelengths, but it's just kind of interesting this happened right before everyone would sort of rip that off. And this has never, I don't think, ever been called to mind, the similarities. The other thing is like how we view a bullet in early 99 versus the aftermath of like Columbine, and how we view guns now, and the prevalence of school shootings, and seeing a bullet like go through a kid's birthday party is, I would say, really different from right before the first major school shooting that like kind of influenced all of this bullshit that happened afterwards. So it sort of reminds me of a simpler time, because at the time I thought, oh cool, bullet goes through things, and the context of which just meant it's a silly music video. You know, obviously a bullet going from a cartoon poster to a Korn poster of the band going back to a cartoon poster seemed like a silly funny thing. And it still is a silly funny thing, but the context of which I think changed after that. So I don't think when people say, you know, cancel culture, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying this is, or like that aged like milk. That's not really what I'm entirely saying. Is what I'm saying is like, this is a time capsule of its time, and the idea of doing it now, I think, would not be met with the same acclaim. Also, MTV and how music videos are distributed is different, but I do think it's probably the best video of the nu metal era and that era of rock, and it's a great video. It really works. It's like a quick little short film. It showcases the band really well. You get a little thing of each of their personalities really quick. you get to show animation, you get to show all of this stuff. So I actually think it's like probably one of the smartest ones, and shows that they were actually a little more down for like doing something a little weirder and artistic, even though it does feel like a big dumb video. It's, if you've watched, I watched all of those at the time, and they're all kind of forgettable and stupid, but like this is the one that always stayed with me. So I think it's, you know, probably is a little more up there than any of the rest of them, but I think it just shows like a cool little concept that can get you through a short film or a music video that can like ride you through, and it got you all the cool things music video could do, and it all sort of works, even though it's like completely ridiculous, even though now it would probably be sort of a little more offensive and more meaningful and a lot more scary than it was then. But it's kind of nice to look back on, I guess, that time when a bullet felt a little less scary to me. But, you know, I think it just reminded me of that kind of era and going like, oh, this is actually a good band. This is sort of interesting, and this is different. And I don't really like them now, and I feel different about it. But I still look back on this fondly in the song a little bit, even though I've maybe grown out of it or whatever, but I still think this is a good concept and a good video, and it's sort of a kind of reminder of a time that went, and kind of like the good part of it that I sort of like take with me from this. Yeah, I did, by the way, I did think it was pretty insane that Ian got to meet Jonathan Davis. I was like, wow, that's cool. Apparently he's cool. That's everyone I asked. That was a question I asked, trust me. I was like, wow. He was like, yeah, he was cool. I mean, I will say the one thing about that band versus the other new metal stuff is they had like Spike and Mike's twisting animation. Like they were way more for like expanding the arts and doing stuff with animation and doing things like that, which I think a lot of those bands were more into, like just the Motley Crueisms of it, and maybe they were into that too, but they like at least started, I don't know. I'm not like fully sold on the whole Korn thing, to be honest with you, but I will defend them as musicians and stuff like that. Anyway, hopefully this was not just me talking about a lame thing I used to be into. All right, let's talk about Scanvengers Reign real quick. This is going to be a quick thing because it'll be a short later. I just thought I'd film it very quickly. So I wanted to talk about the new show. So this new show, Scanvengers Reign, is on Max. It is a sci-fi show about a bunch of people who got kind of stranded on a strange alien planet after their ship had some sort of an accident. We're not sure which, but I'm pretty sure it's solar flares. And it has a very like kind of heavy metal magazine kind of look. It reminds me of Mobius quite a bit. And it has a very strange kind of interesting, very French, even Mobius or that era of French illustration kind of design to it, but you never know what kind of strange, weird creatures around the corner as they're kind of sort of making their way through this alien world. If you like complicated and weird sci-fi, or just sci-fi in general, it is an absolute great show. They're putting out 3 episodes a week, and it is 100% the show that you should be watching right now, because there's just so many weird and interesting things. And every episode I'm just surprised at like this new kind of alien creature that they've come up with that the characters have to get through, while at the same time you kind of try to figure out how they got in this mess in the first place. I would say it's probably the best show that nobody's watching, and a show that I kind of can't stop getting into and keep understanding the mysteries and the imagination that's within it. Cool. All right. It'll probably be cut down when you see it as a short. I was like, well, let's do this as a segment. Maybe I'll never do something like that again. All right, let's do the questions. I think we'll go till 12:35 just to give you guys some stuff. I'm going to write questions below so I know where to start. Sorry, questions below. Okay. Oh, I'm really selling Max this time. Sorry, Logan. I hope you like Max. All right. First off, these are the Patreon questions. If you're a patron, you get to ask a question. I'll do that first. So, Jordan Bouchard, what are some of the changes you personally think we will see in the entertainment industry caused by AI? Um, I mean, some of it people will use it to assist with screenplays. That is something if they choose to. That is something we will see in WGA. That was part of the thing. I will say I do think someone will eventually make a successful and good movie with AI. When that will happen, I don't think we're as close to it as people believe we are. And I think it would have to be a pretty substantial hit. I don't think it could be. It would have to like make money, and AI has yet to make money. But I do think we'll see people who will be accused of using it. There will be people. Someone will go down for using it. When it's discovered, they'll probably be secret about it. But I do think we'll see more and more changes, and I think we could even have a director who only uses AI, who's significant at some point. I can totally see that happening. In the future, I think that there's no way that doesn't happen. That's what I think. All right. All right. Nathaniel Foga, what's a popular director from back then that you'd like to see make a comeback? I used to think, what's his name? John McTiernan, who got arrested for shady shit. I kind of used to want him to make a comeback because he got out of prison, and he made like a commercial for Call of Duty or something that was actually pretty cool. But I don't think he's done much. I wouldn't mind him. I know John Woo's making a comeback. That I would have said. I mean, if it's classic Hollywood, I'd love for William Wellman to come back. But he's dead, so I don't know. I would love for De Palma to sort of come back. I wouldn't mind finding out any of those weird George Lucas tone poems that he supposedly made some. I wouldn't mind seeing him try to get his THX 1138 on. I'd probably be cool with that. I wouldn't mind Christopher Guest coming back. I wouldn't mind Rob Reiner trying to get back to his glory days, at least attempt to. Rob Reiner, what the fuck happened? Anyway, Austin said, "Hey Jim, should I come up with another one there for Nathaniel Foga? Joe Dante. I would like Joe Dante to really come back. Get a big Joe Dante movie." All right, Austin said, "Hey Jim, what a great show and great cameos from AI James Dean, star of the Vietnam movie, and Tom Atkins." Oh, I would love if Tom Atkins was here. My question about MST3K Season 14, I'm planning to pledge. I find it strange that their fans' choice... I had to clarify this with Austin later because I was a little confused. But he said, I find it strange that there basically isn't a choice where the fans... One of the rewards isn't fans get to pick a movie. Like giving fans some sort of power of suggesting movies for Season 14. Question for you, what movies do you want to see ripped on Season 14? My choices would be Ninja 3, The Domination Day, or The Animal... Munchie 2 and Master Ninja 3. Okay, I will say this. Munchie 2 has to happen. And any of them, I believe there's several films in that franchise. As good as that whole Munchie was like an all-timer. Munchie they should absolutely do that. I second that one. Other bad movies. I wouldn't mind a movie like there's Ninja Shadow of a Tear, which is a good B movie, but I still wouldn't mind them doing that. I would also say I really, as lame as this sounds, I wouldn't mind if they did Master of the Universe. I wouldn't mind if they did like the animated Mario movie. I wouldn't mind if they did actually any animation. I don't think they've ever done an animated movie. That would be cool. I mean, Food Fight's right there. Food Fight would be great because I think Food Fight lost its prestige of being terrible. I don't think we hear about that as much. Or any of the movies like Saber Ortiz and stuff. One of those. Yeah, I would say that. I would say those. That would be it. Toulouse, you need to cough up that hairball, man. He's just like holding on to... Hey, that was me killing a fly though. He's kind of over on the couch. Anyway. We have one more question from Sinram. This is sort of just a Patreon question, but it was part of it, so I'll say, since you make 2 Patreon posts for each episode of Movie Crap, one on the day before and one on the day of, do you have a preference on which post to leave a question on? Is there a deadline for either? For the Patreon questions, the deadline is, I would say, maybe like an hour before any stream. If you go past that, there's a chance I will miss it. just because that's like the last time I check. And then it doesn't matter. I just post 2 to give you 2 opportunities. I check both, so either one, even if I always check both. So if you leave one or the other, doesn't matter. All right. Let's see. Cornbread asks, with streams becoming more frequent, does that mean my chances of getting 100% accurate thumbnail prediction increase, or my fail rate gets? I think it can increase. I'm still happy with what you did today. I thought you did a great job. Yeah, I think I almost feel like there will be a time where Cornbread will guess it 100%. I feel like that is a possibility. I mean, we had the same MST3K. You picked the correct moon, which the yellow moon is for this season. So, Zane Power says, can you give your very specific, very unfiltered opinions on the situation? At least. I mean, I'm just, I've always been more pro-Palestine, so I guess that's probably it. And I think there should be a ceasefire, and I think it has gone way too far. So I guess that sort of answers it. Carter Wright, what kind of bear is best? Maybe a black bear? A nice bear? Baloo from Jungle Book? One of those. Austin, what's the best episodes of Lucy Joy the Devil? I watched the first one today. I like the Preachers and the Devil. What's the best episode? As I said in my review, I think not the last one, so I'd say 10, 9, and 8. Or I'd say, yeah, and second place to those would be 7. I think the show gets better towards the end, but I think you kind of have to watch the other ones for it to get better because you need the familiarity with the characters. But I would say I find that little segment of it, because the show sort of changes for those couple episodes, I think that's the best the show was. And I think it would have continued to be like that had it gone further. Question from Bloxy Oxenwinkle. What movie do you want remade but with Paul Blart replacing the main character? High Noon or... yeah, High Noon would definitely be it. Something like that, probably. Nathaniel Foga, what was your favorite month? What has been your favorite month of this year? I feel like August, September, and October have not been great. So anyone that's not, even though I had really good times with my family those times, it did not, maybe July. I'm just going to say July. Maybe March. We had a good time in March. March or July, let's say that. Zane Powers, if the Hays Code sucks so much, how come so many film people are generous about describing as many filmmakers more creative? Actually, I'm going to say I think anyone who said that is a fucking idiot. I have watched films during the early Hays Code, and 1935 is horrible. Like, what the fuck? I've hated that for so long. The more I understand about the 30s, the more I understand that anyone who supports the Hays Code and says it's more creative does not understand what came before it and does not understand what was held back because of it. The Hays Code was horrible, and anybody who says they were more creative is a fucking idiot. Like, they shouldn't. I don't know why people bounce off that opinion. It was not a good thing for cinema. It was not a good thing for being creative. Sometimes, yes, there were films that worked within it, but its immediate it's immediate, when it immediately happened, that year stunk. And I believe was one of the biggest box office bomb years of the time when they put out that letter blaming all those Hollywood stars for it. And it was absolutely the Hays Code. Like, people, I don't know why film teachers tell people that. Those people are idiots. They should just be like, watch some pre-code. Pre-code is so much better than like this mid-30s period, and then it like boomed back in 39. But like this whole idea that was good is like moronic. Like, I don't know why those people, I've seen those movies, and that is not a good period. And like, I do not understand why people think that is okay to like spout this insane, just horrible. I just do not get that. Anyway, sorry. It's like always bugged me. Cornbread, do you end up watching Renfield? I assume you won't be going back to that review that at all, so I figured to ask here for the spooky season. I did not see Renfield. I don't really have plans to see it. I didn't hear the best things, and I can only see so much. That's kind of what happened there. Black Saxon Winkle, favorite energy drink you've discovered thanks to the show? The Rocks one, 100%. In fact, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that one or a Red Bull for the last Saturday one. I kind of just want to... I thought, oh wait, there's a super chat in here. I've thought about bringing back the Red Bull for that, but I'd say the rock one was the actual best one. That's the only one I like. Generally, I'm like, this is really cool. Lucas Anderson says, thoughts on the new Spawn movie, Image Cinematic U. What? Oh, the Image Cinematic Universe. Sorry, I was picturing like this University of Cinema. All right, cheers to you. I know he's doing it with Blumhouse. I think Blumhouse is a great studio for it. I think it could work. Not super sold on Todd McFarlane directing it. I wish it had a better director, but I think it could work, and I'm honestly surprised more Image stuff has not come back on streaming and other places because there's so much nostalgia for the 90s, and that was the 90s comic company. So I'm a little surprised by that, but I would be down for like, a better special effects Spawn movie. I think that could be cool. So Jordan Salaflo, favorite Christina Ricci movie? Probably Opposite of Sex. I always thought she was really good in that. Hello, Green Wing Spino. Hello, how's it going? Zane Power says, most memorable, unmemorable film and most memorable, unmemorable, memorable film you've seen. Most memorable, unmemorable film. That's most memorable, unmemorable film. Like a film I do think about the film like, was it Snitch with The Rock? That's just like such a weird experience watching that. And like, I felt like the title card saved it for the audience, but it was like, but that was a bad movie. Most unmemorable, memorable film. I guess it would be like a big Oscar movie that I just don't think about. And there's so many of them. Like so many, you look at the Best Picture things, like, man, I saw that. And like, we all talked about it for so long. And now like The Descendants, not the Disney one. Like the Alexander Payne one. I've heard people bring that up, and I was like, I do not really, I remember it, but like, when I think Alexander Payne, I think Election or Sideways or About Schmidt. I never think The Descendants. What's crazy is George Clooney was like obsessed with getting in an Alexander Payne movie. Like he was like getting upset at him for not putting him in Sideways and like all this nonsense. It's like hilarious now when you think about it. All right, let's go. Okay, question: have you ever TP'd a house? Yeah, I have. Fogo, what's your favorite drink that's not an energy drink? Water. I'm more on coconut water currently and coffee, but coconut water is really good for you. I always get a coconut water, have like one a day. If I'm doing a lot physically, it really like brings you back really well. Thanks to my brother-in-law for telling me about that. Cornward question: is there any correlation between the Five Nights at Freddy guy Sean Cawthorne being pro-life, anti-abortion? Thank you for explaining that. And Republican leaning, and centering his entire franchise about ghost kids. Probably the way you put that. I mean, I've never played that game, but now I'm thinking about it. So. Black Saxon Wickle, what's your favorite of the Child Play franchise? I have not seen them in a while. I think was Bride of Chucky with John Waters. Whatever one is John Waters, I'm probably going to say at least is my second favorite, but my favorite is the first one. And I need to rewatch them because when Izzy made her cartoon, I was like, man, I should really rewatch some of these. Anyway, I'm just going to do a couple more because it's super late and I'm getting a little tired. So I'm going to do Carter Wright, Thoughts on the Devil and Daniel Mouse. It's a made-for-TV musical from the early 80s. I don't think I've seen that, but The Devil and Daniel Webster is really great. Okay, I want to get some people who I didn't get to answer. Not plausible. Hello, did you hear that the web is in the process of removing more shows from digital distribution, i.e. Infinity Train was removed from iTunes and OKKO potentially being in the crosshairs? I've heard there could be more, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't expect that trend to go away anytime soon. I think it's a bullshit trend because I thought the whole point of streaming was to have more stuff. So, favorite Nickelback song, Nathaniel Foga, that is not, I don't have one. Any Halloween plans? I don't, sadly, no, but I think the kids will get to go trick-or-treating. Carter Wright, have you seen Final Space? No, I haven't. Sorry about that. I wish I had. Logan Hill, question: live action Danger Mouse reboot. Oh, that would be cool. I'm not gonna. I think that could be cool. So, Zane Powers, can you talk about the Will and Jada juicy drama? The only thing I talked about is she did a thing with Will Smith at the library near my parents, and I thought that was cool of her. I honestly don't think we should still be talking about that. I wish we weren't anymore. Zane Powers, I'll answer this last. If the studio heads are replaced, do you think the successors will be better or worse? Any specific cases? I honestly don't like any of the studio heads because they've done such a shit job. I would like Reed Hastings from Netflix kind of gone. I think he's not, or whomever is running Netflix, I think maybe he's not as much. Zaslav is an obvious, like, get him out of there. I think Iger has not helped that company at all. I think Paramount's better run than everyone gives it credit for, but I think they should all be like, let's get out of here, no more. Anyway, all right, so that was the show. The next one will be, let me look at the calendar again, November 4th, which will be the final Saturday Movie Crap Live. Wow, we went a little long tonight. So if you ever wanted to be on the chat watching live a Movie Crap Live on a Saturday, that is your probably last chance because we're moving to weekdays. So I believe it will be Wednesdays, and I'll try to say what the next date is when we do them, and they'll be more frequent and all that. But thank you guys for being here. I think it was a good show. We didn't mention Tommy Tooby at all, but I didn't have any Tooby news. I think when there's Tooby news, Tommy Tooby only shows up when he needs to show up. So anyway, I'm happy with this show. Yeah, it is sort of late, but thank you all for being here. If I did not get to your question for some reason, please just leave it in the comments below. Also, if you're watching one of these and there's suddenly a shit ton of ads and you're watching it later, YouTube just does that. If I find it, I go back and change the settings. So if you do find that, please message me and I will change it when I get the chance to. But anyway, thank you all for being here. You're all great. You're wonderful. It's cool. Izzy and this fuzzy, all that stuff. Anyway, you all have a good night. Have a happy Halloween. Have a happy Halloween. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you all next time. And take care of yourself. Subscribe if you would like to. And peace. Talk to you later. Bye.